Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing fine. And today I'm gonna explain to you this piece of code. So this piece of code basically has a main method which outputs the sentence "Hello World." So when you press on Control plus F5, you'll see that it's going to output "Hello World." First, before we explain this, let me just tell you about comments. Now, comments are are um, are a line of code that you enter that does not affect the the functionality of the program. So if you want to write a reminder or something, you can write it out, and it will not affect the functionality of the program. So as you can see, when you click Control F5, nothing will happen. Nothing to the functionality of the program will happen, but this line will stay here, and this could be useful to you and other programmers that sees your code to make it more understandable for them to read your code. So it will make it more readable because you may write this will do this or this will do that, blah blah blah. Now, in order to have a comment, you have to insert two double slashes and write your comment. Otherwise, if you remove the comment, if you remove the double slashes of the comment, you will see that it will not function. An error will be displayed. So you need to type double slashes before any comment you add. Control plus F5, and as you can see, nothing changed. So let me just delete this comment and let me just explain to you the main method. Now, in every C++ program, we will have a main method here. Now, this method is a type of integer, so it will return an integer, but since the integer is returned 0, it will not display. Now, as you have seen earlier, the return type was not there, and Control plus F5, the application still works. Now, why is that? Because the compiler in many applications would auto-generate the return in the background, so so it will auto-generate it, and you won't have to type it in most cases. Now, this would also work if you have a void type, which means that the method will not return anything. So yeah, as you can see, it's still working. So let me just return it back to integer, and as you can see here, let me just explain this line of code. Now we have here std, and this is a namespace which basically is a container for libraries. Now, what's a library? A library is basically just like how libraries operate in real life and they have books. Libraries have uh, functions and methods in them, so that you can use in your code. Now, libraries are divided into classes, and these classes contains methods. Now, so let's say, for example, you are using. Now, this library is called the standard library. So standard library, abbreviated as std. Okay, so inside this standard library, there will be a class called uh, arithmetic methods. So maybe it will be something like this: arithmetic methods, and this class there will be add, multiply, divide, etc. So this is how the class library works in C++. You will have a library, a class, and a method, and all of these things are contained within a namespace. So namespace is a container for all of this. and namespace would share, most likely would share the same name as the library. So here, this is a namespace that contains the library, the standard library of C#, of C++, I mean, the standard library of C++. And within this library, you can see classes and methods. Now, cout is an implementation of class of IOStream. As you can see here, we have included the class IOStream in the library. Now, why don't we include all of the classes from the library, from the standard library? It's because we want to enhance the performance of our program and application, and it will be redundant to use all of the classes that are available in the library. So we only use the parts that we need from the class, and the compiler here, it will notify you if you are using something that's not included within, that's not added here. Now this area here is called the header files, you know. So here you have added a header file called IOStream, and this header file would include the class called IOStream, and this class is a part of the standard library, and this class deals with the inputs and the outputs of your program. And since we are using here command line interface, as we can see here, we want to input and output from here. So yeah, so this is why we are having this piece of code right here. This is a header file which contains a class, which is a part of the library, which will include cout, and cout is implementation of this class. So yeah, and here we see an arithmetic. I mean, this is an operation sign, and this means streaming out. So you can read as the standard library with the implementation of cout, with the implementation of IOStream called cout, is streaming out the sentence hello world and streaming out the standard library end line. Now this end line here is used to indicate that this text line has ended, so that when we write another sentence, there will be a new line for them. So as you can see, if we write two hello world, they'll be in different lines. If we remove this, part, you will see that they are sticking together, and we don't want this in our program. So depending on the case, you most likely want to have end line. Now other implementation of this is basically you can have /n, and this will basically add a new line. So the / will indicate special type of a special character or a type. So this indicates a new line. So this is about it, and let me just explain the other syntax related stuff. So in every method you will need to have these two brackets, which can be used to store arguments, but in this case we don't have arguments here for the main method. And these curly brackets are also used for the compiler to know what's inside the method, what's the method going to do. So these are for arguments, and these are the content of the method. And here these quotation marks are used for anything you're writing using string type. So when you want to write sentences using alphanumerical letters, you need to use these quotations these quotations for the compiler to recognize that. Now numbers, if you just write numbers, or they're called integers, you'll not need these quotations because it's an integer type. But if you want to write any word sentences or any alphanumerical line, you'll need to use these quotations because it's a type, it's string, and this is how it's defined. And we are using it as well for the compiler to avoid confusion, because as you can see, these keywords don't use any any sort of quotation marks. So if you want to differentiate text from keywords, C++ keywords, you need to use the quotation marks. But the difference between this and comments is that comments are not read by the compiler, while the quotations are read by the compiler. And here the semicolon is used at the end of statements, of line of code statements, which basically tells the compiler that, okay, I have ended this line of code, please move on. And you know what, actually, the compiler doesn't even care about the arrangement that you made for the program. Okay, so like whatever arrangement you're seeing here, as long as it follows the rules for you can write the program in a single line. Let me just remove this comment. So you can write the application in a single line, and it will still work. Oh, well, not this time. Well, maybe okay, I think. Anyways, it still works most of the time. Now let me just make sure. Let me just return it to normal. So if we write it like this, it should work. Yeah, I think like some programs that have this, it can work, but some programs that, like, you know, because maybe we are interfering with the header line, it won't work. But anyways, this is the program that we have talking about. I hope really have enjoyed the video, and anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you understood from whatever I said. Take care.